Does the world need an updated live action Snow White? Let's see. Hello, everyone. I'm Danny.
I'm John.
And this is our chart midlife. And this week I am talking about the new Disney Snow White. They don't call it like Disney's apostrophe Snow White. They just put Disney Snow White. So that's a little weird to me. But anyway, this is obviously the new live action retelling, I would call it, of the animated movie from 1937. This Snow White is an hour and 49 minutes long. It is rated PG. Here's the write-up for it, which is very different from the animated. Now, this is kind of great because we just watched the original 3 weeks ago.
Right.
So it's very fresh in my brain as I was watching it, but just the write-up alone will tell you the difference in these two movies.
Okay.
A princess joins forces with 7 dwarfs to liberate her kingdom from her cruel stepmother, the evil queen.
Okay.
So that's intriguing, right?
Yeah, that's different. I wouldn't have labeled the original that way, so that's interesting.
Exactly. Let me actually see if I have the original in here, because I do. So the original was, exiled into the dangerous forest by her wicked stepmother, a princess is rescued by 7 dwarf miners who make her part of their household. 2 completely different stories, if you ask me. This movie stars Rachel Zegler as Snow White, Gal Gadot as the evil queen. Mm-hmm. Andrew Burnap is Jonathan, I think his name is. Not a prince. Oh. We'll get to that. Oh. It's directed by Mark Webb, and then there's the voices of the 7 dwarfs people would know, like Titus Burgess is one, and oh gosh, now I should have written all of them down. But the voices people know, it doesn't really matter because they've made them look basically like the animated versions. But we'll get to that.
Okay.
The music of this is by Pasek and Paul. Everyone knows them they did the music for La La Land, Greatest Showman, Dear Evan Hansen. Their music to me is fantastic. I love their music. And so it lended itself to a Disney movie really well. To me, and have just seen this movie in the last 4 hours, the music was the standout to me for this movie. Again, in the original, I didn't really like the music because I didn't like the voices. It just, kind of dragged. Mm-hmm. This music was up and it told the story and it helped to further the story, which is what's supposed to happen in musicals.
Right.
The main I Want song that's in every musical, it's called Waiting on a Wish. I love it. Okay. I love it. Like, I'm kind of obsessed with it.
Oh, wow.
And again, we saw Rachel Zegler. She was on Stephen Colbert or something. Jimmy Kimmel. Jimmy Kimmel. And she sang it live. And I know there's a lot of controversy about Rachel Zegler. And some people don't like her for what she said about making this movie. Some people, whatever. But go seek out videos of her singing live. Her voice is just incredible. And so...
yeah, you may not like her in some of the things she said, but you can't take away her voice.
Right.
She's got
a phenomenal voice. And on top of singing her butt off in this movie, she carries the movie. She is definitely... where in the original, I think it felt like we were kind of telling this story from afar, and you didn't really get to know Snow White, the Queen, the dwarves. Like, you didn't really know anyone, but you were just watching this fairy tale story.
Yep.
In this is definitely, we are with Snow White. We are going through all of the events with her as her type thing. And she carries that.
Okay.
She has a lot of presence, charisma. I don't know what you would call it, but she does it for me. So
okay.
I'm good with that.
Okay. So if you don't know anything about her, if you're coming into this fresh and you don't have any knowledge of the controversy, you're going to like her.
I would think so.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's so this gives us not a lot, but more backstory as to the relationship between the evil queen and Snow White. Not a ton more, but it starts with Snow White as a child with her parents, the real king and queen.
Oh, wow.
And so we learn what she was taught as a child, which was to be fair and kind, especially to the people in her community. As things happen as they do, then somehow she gets this evil stepmother who becomes evil queen and all that. I like that they gave us a little more information, and it carries through. There's a lot. They really stuck to the original for a lot of things and then took it further.
Okay.
So people who are purists, I think, would still like this because it sticks to the original. There's a lot of repeated scenes.
Okay.
The big ones, like when we were talking about the original, we were talking about the forest and how terrifying it was.
Mm-hmm.
They still have a pretty scary forest in this
Really?
one.
Okay.
They have a lot of CGI animals because Snow White talks to the animals and that sort of thing. The animals are adorable. They made every single animal adorable. These little chipmunks and squirrels and hedgehog, and there's a deer, and they're the cutest things in the world.
Well, I mean, at its core, that's what Disney is best at.
Yeah, absolutely. That all look good. The visual of everything, like the opening number of where they're in this kingdom, the color palette that they chose, like if you just kind of took a screenshot, you could tell that this was from Snow White's movie because they just chose all the blues and the reds and the yellows on all of the townspeople. And so it just all blended really well and looked really good. The way they did the dwarf's house looked really good. It was just interesting. And then as far as the other people in the movie, so Gal Gadot. I didn't really like her in this, but I'm not sure why. I felt like, oh gosh, I don't know how to explain it. I wanted evil, and I feel like it kind of gave me like cheesy evil. Like she was trying too hard or something. And she has 2 songs in the movie. And you can't tell me we couldn't find someone who could sing at least. She's not bad, but it's kind of just they were giving her a talking singing songs. You know what I mean?
Sure.
We could have gotten someone in that role who could really sing and would have really gave some real meat to that sort of thing.
Okay.
Even when she would just kind of like lose it and be like, "Arr," or whatever, it wasn't good enough for me. Now her costume is amazing. The way she looks is very intimidating and evil. And then it was kind of like a little lackluster for me with that. Now I like her. So it feels weird to say that, but it was just, I don't know. There was just something didn't get me fully there. So I don't know if that's her problem or not, her fault or not. The same with this Andrew Burnap. He's a Tony Award winner. He's good, but to stand next to Rachel again, and I think I'm still reeling from West Side Story where she had to deal with bleh, and that just sucked. She needs a partner, like I feel like, who is as good as her singing wise and can be have the presence of her. And I didn't feel like this guy carried that either, but I also liked what they did with his character. So he's not a prince. There is no prince involved in this. There is still a love story, and I did like all of that. I liked the changes that they made. I actually cried at the end. I actually cried quite a bit at the end that I was not expecting to do at all. So I really liked that change. And for people who are like, who gave her crap about like, oh, she doesn't need to be saved and all of that, I guess, I don't know. I watched Once Upon a Time, and I watched that Snow White wielding swords and fighting, and being a rebel and stuff. So I don't know. And that's not what's happening here. I just feel like I don't want to give away the change because I think people need to see it for themselves. Because again, it very much sticks to the original, and then it continues after that. So where the original ended, there's just a little bit more. So yeah, so then we get to the Seven Dwarfs. The CGI part of it, they're cute. I know that they wanted to say that they were like magical creatures now, and when they are in the mines, like their hand glows and they touch the stone and it makes all of the gems appear so they know where to go get them, I guess.
That's handy.
They gave them much more, they had personalities and they had much more screen time as far as working with Snow White. And later, where they were people. Like these were actual people, not just whatever. So I did appreciate that we got to know them a little bit more.
Sure.
So again, whatever controversy there is around, should they have done CGI? Should they have hired actors? Should they have done whatever? I don't know. I'm not even going to get into that. I'm just kind of watching the movie. So that's how I felt about them. And Pasek and Paul also, as far as I know, because I'm not a big on the original, but Hi Ho had a whole bunch more to it. So I don't know if they took it and they enhanced it, or if this existed before but it just wasn't in part of the movie. I don't know. They also did that to one of the other songs, I forget, and they expanded on it and made it, Whistle While You Work, I think. They put a lot more into it.
Okay.
So I really liked it. It was, they actually, again, the Seven Dwarfs in the Mine, when they were working and singing that song, there was so much more to it. We got to see them, and there were actual like scenes from the ride that they put in this movie, which was actually kind of cool. Yeah, so I liked that. So
okay, very cool.
The whole point of this, and I know there were people who were like, how is Gal Gadot going to sit in front of a mirror and say, who's the fairest of them all? And they think that Rachel's fair. This fairness is not about being fair. It is about being fair from the heart.
Okay.
And so the point of this movie, which I really, really loved, was about that, being fair and kind. And her father tells her to be fearless, fair, brave, and true. And to do that for her community and her kingdom. It starts out that, the evil queen is prettier and it does all of that. But the moment Snow White makes a choice to be fair to someone, that's when the magic mirror says, not anymore, and so I like that. And I kind of figured that's what they were going to do instead of they also had to change because, again, skin is white as snow, which is how she got her name in the original. They had to change that for this movie, and when she was a baby, she endured a snowstorm or something, and that's why her parents call her that. I don't know. Who cares? I don't care. Put anyone in the role. I'll call her Snow White. You tell me to call her Snow White.
Yeah.
I don't care. So the fearless, fair, brave, and true, I really liked that going throughout the whole thing. I think especially in today's world, to be teaching our kids.
I was going to say, those are noble words for today.
Yeah.
The words that her father...
To sit down and show my kids this movie and them coming out of it saying it's not about being pretty. It's about being kind and fair and true. And especially to your community and those around you and sharing. That's something that I would want to sit down with my kids and have them watch.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter about, does she get kissed when she's sleeping? Did she have to be saved at some point with a man? Who gives a crap? The whole point of this movie and being fair, I think, is worthwhile. And I think they did a really good job of showing that and changing that kind of...
updating for today.
That motif of almost 100 years ago.
For civilization having progressed.
Yeah. And it's fun. It's not... how the original felt like, sometimes it was like, my God.
I do know how the original felt like that.
This felt a little bit more upbeat most of the time. Of course there are times where it's a little sad or whatever, but there's this one song that she sings with Andrew Burnap. Well, he actually starts it, called Princess Problems. And it's really cute and it's upbeat and it's kind of saying, first world problems type thing.
Okay, I can see that taking on a life nowadays on TikTok.
Yeah, probably will. Yeah. So I really liked it. I'm giving this an 8.
Oh, okay.
I will watch it again. Is it one of the best live action remakes that Disney's done? No. I'm not a huge fan of the live action remakes, so it's a little, weird, but because we had just watched the original, I think that I had that original in my head the whole time. So I really was able to kind of side by side compare. Mm-hmm. And I really do like what they did. The music was great. I'm going to go buy the album. And when it comes out, on on Disney Plus, and then eventually it'll be on Freeform all the time and whatever, I'm definitely going to sit and watch it. And again, I think a lot of that is Rachel Zegler and her performance, and she really is earnest in this role. That's what I felt. I think there's quite a list of controversies around this movie, and I think I just saw it only made $40 million in this opening weekend. I think that's going to change when people this week start telling people that they saw it and what they think of it. I really do think there's going to be a positive outlook on this movie after all. That's my opinion. I could be wrong. We'll see.
Okay.
So I'm giving it an 8. Snow White, it's in theaters now. I recommend everyone to see this with their kids. I think it's a really good message, and I really do like the way that they change things. Thanks so much, you guys, for watching. Please like this video if you can. If you've seen Snow White already, what did you think about it? Or if you're refusing to see it, let us know why. And maybe I can answer some questions there or something. So if you do have some questions about it, let me know. Otherwise, thanks so much for watching.